Sorry if I sound so excited, but like, when you're starving and you haven't eaten like all day and then you just ate something and it's really good. Well, that didn't happen, but I'm just excited. Just kidding. No, I just ate, but put you in a cup so you can hear me better because I don't want to be yelling at you guys, alright? Um, Here's the thing. This is a 30-minute video and it's really long. And if I go through, I try to listen to it, and so far it's taken me 2 days. So I'm not gonna listen to the whole thing. It's too much editing. I'm already almost done, but I could tell that when I'm done, it's still gonna need more. So let's just do it from memory. Let's see how it turns out. It'll probably only be 3 minutes instead of 30, but that's okay. So Gehenna means garbage dump, from what I recall. Let's put the exact thing right here on the screen, okay? Because you guys know, I say things in my figurative speech, in my ways that I say things. So if you get it, you get it, and it makes you cooler. It makes you cooler like me. If you get it, you get it. If you get it, you get it. I should write a song. It's called Do You Get It? Anyway, so that's the waste. It's where all the waste goes. The Valley of Hinnom, Hinnom, if I'm not mistaken. That I do remember. That they would take all their garbage there from Galilee, from all over Judea and Jerusalem, wherever, and that's where they would burn it. And so that's why Jesus is calling this name to the Pharisees, but I think Gehenna is like the same thing as Hinnom, but it's like a different name. I don't know, something like that. Basically, he's calling them garbage. He just roasted them, basically. And he's really mean to the Pharisees because they're messed up and they already had plenty of chances to do right by him, but they don't do things correctly. So now they're just like getting on his nerves, and he's just like, oh my god, stop asking me stupid questions because I'm trying to teach my disciples something and you're just like getting in the way of it, and it's a waste of our time, and you're also in everybody's way. Instead of getting and moving so that somebody else could do your job better, you'd rather just sit in Moses' seat. You take his seat like you deserve it, and you don't. So, like, get out of Moses' seat so somebody else can do it better. How many times am I? Anyways, do you see what I'm saying? OMG. Woe to you. The 7 woes. I don't know what the 7 woes are. I think, okay, so Luke recorded 6, Matthew recorded 7. I know that. But the point was that the first one was like that they're in Moses' seat and they can't fill his shoes, basically. It's like, who do you think you are? You guys killed all the prophets, and your ancestors killed people. And you act like you guys are not just like your ancestors, but clearly you are, because you're just taking all these things that you're not deserving of them, and you're leading people into temptation instead of leading them through a righteous path, right? So how is it that you memorize these words, you know these laws, and you don't practice them? So as we know, guys, it's a bigger sin, right? Like, it's not as if you can be like, oh, I didn't know, oh my god, I'm stupid. Then it's like kind of like it's not okay, but it's like you get one chance. But then if you do it again, it's like you're stupid. We're gonna get rid of you. Hella out, basically. And what is this? Oh my god. I need to slow this down. It's moving too fast. So the Pharisees were all upset. They're like, oh my god, you called us hypocrites. And that's why in Matthew chapter 23, which is like a super important chapter, you guys, but I'll get deep into it later. This is just like an overview because the topic is the value, like being impeccable with our word and whatnot, and like faithfulness. And so my dream is kind of still a little vague to me. Not too vague, but it's basically not about impeccability because we already got that. So woe to you, Torah scholars and Pharisees, you're the hypocrites and you're gluttons. I think that's what he's calling them because like you tithe mint and dill and cumin. Like that, isn't that like they're making spices? Yet you have neglected the weightier matters of the Torah, justice and mercy and faithfulness. All three of those. This another interesting point here that Jesus makes. All three of those, he says, are necessary and they're equally valid, he says. Justice, mercy, and faithfulness. And so there, it's chapter 23, verse 23. He continues. It is necessary. These are his words. It is necessary. It's part of his little quote. It's necessary to do these things without neglecting the others. And so verse 24, he calls them blind. Blind guides. You string out a gnat, you swallow a camel. You fools. And so that happened, and obviously Pharisees are going to be mad because they're sore losers. They don't know how to take criticism constructively because that's what losers don't know how to do, obviously. And so then we continue on to our impeccability process. What are we going to call this? I'm not sure what we're going to call this yet. I think it's just going to be called impeccability. So, verse 38 of Luke. This is either Luke 10 or John. Whatever. I'll post it. It'll be on the thing or whatever. But basically, I keep using Jesus's words because how he keeps wording things correctly. And so like I don't know. Uh, basically, comprehensively, so that like even a small child could understand it. He says, "You don't know what you're saying." He's saying this to two of his disciples who asked him. I asked him about can we be with you? But Jesus is kind of like he's not like he's very focused on teaching them, and so he's not gonna think like, oh, these people are trying to like be little brown nosers, like I don't know what they're like. They're trying to be cool. I don't know, trying to be cooler than me or something. But he's just like he loves his disciples, so he's trying to like answer them nicely and in a way that they'll learn something from it. But they're not really like, uh, yeah, they literally don't know what they're asking, and they probably know that they don't know what they're asking. Um, like me, I would have like not responded positively to this. I've been like stupid questions deserve no answer, or stupid questions deserve a stupid answer, right? But Jesus is like so like patient with these people, so he's like, "Oh, my dear child, you don't know what you're asking. Can you drink a cup of the cup I drink, or be baptized with the baptism that I'm baptized with?" Like he's all spiritual about it, and like we get it, and then they're idiots too, like the Pharisees, but he's all nice to them, right? Because he's like they're stupid, so it's okay. And so verse 39, they say, we can, they answered. And Jesus is like, no, you will drink the cup I drink and be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with. But to say, oh, he's just going along with it for them. He's like, yeah, sure, you can. Oh, shit, sorry. He's like, yeah, you think you can digest for me. You think you can think for me. You think you can make choices and I will take the action that is in your mind. Like, he's not going to call them idiots. So he's like, yeah, okay, you're okay. And so he's like, but to sit at my right hand or left is not for me to grant. And so he's like, how do I tell these people to just sit down for a second? Because they're just like, oh my gosh, stop being distracted. This is like, and he's saying some really important stuff. Very serious. I would be really upset if I was going over something this important and I was sent here to tell them that. And I'm like, you guys are my people. You're supposed to listen to me. And they're just like, oh, can we sit with you? Like, duh, you're already sitting with me, dumbass. Anyway, so it's like, I wish I was that political about things though. But, oh, I skipped one. To sit at my right. Oh, God, it's going too fast. Okay. Sit at my right, left, and left, right. These places belong to those for whom they have been prepared. So again, referencing the corresponding, positions of people and their choices, whatever. We're all affected by our decisions, obviously, and that's the only thing that's gonna differentiate whether we'll sit with God or elsewhere, obviously. How sweet. And then when they heard this, they're all indignant, which is a cute word, with James and John. And like, this just reminds me so much of like when like we're when I'm reading this whole chapter, I couldn't stop laughing because I kept thinking it reminds me of like when you're a child and you get mad at your like brother and sister because like you wanted the red cup with Spider-Man on it or something. And that's how these steps are basically. Like they don't even realize like what's happening right now, what's happening to them, and what they're going through. And so they're too dumb to be amazed by it. So Jesus called them together and said, "You know that those who are regarded as rulers, the Gentiles, lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. And so not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant." And so again, he's saying the same thing again in a whole different analogy. He's like, okay, think of it as your instead of you wanting to sit with me, think of yourself as my servant and me as your servant, right? And whoever wants, and he even refers to himself in third person when he says, even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. And when he speaks of the Messiah, he doesn't say I, he doesn't say me, he says Messiah. So it's really interesting. I love the way he expresses himself. I'm like still trying to get into the habit of it. But anyway, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. That's the whole point of it. Verse 43 of chapter 10, I think, if not 11. It'll be on screen. For whoever wants to be first must be slave of all, for even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. This is like such a nice, delicate way to put it to them. I'm saying, hey, you need to pay attention because this shit's getting serious. But it's honorable. It's so honorable because they're giving their life. It's not going to be taken. They're giving their life as a ransom. Am I so frank? We skipped something again. I don't know why it's going so fast. It's crazy. I must have exported it. Oh, because I exported it with less frames than this one. Oopsies. Technical difficulties. Okay. It's like 19 seconds for the whole fucking chapter. So, go back. God damn it. We can, we can. So funny. We can. Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. But to serve, but to serve, but to serve, but to serve. Now we're stuck on this for. Why won't it? What's happening? Okay, here we go. So then. Oh my god, I lost it again. 20 seconds. Come on, 20 seconds. Mm. Oh, it's the same one. I'm stupid. See, that's another 23, 23, 23, 23, 23, 23. The power of the 23s. Okay, my screen's stuck, so give me a minute. Shalom, family. He's saying you're all brothers and call no man of blah blah blah. The humble will be exalted. And so the Pharisees are thinking they're real slick, because they're trying to test Jesus, and they're like, we're gonna get him to say something that he doesn't believe in, but then we'll just use it against him. So then we don't have to kill him because it seems like a hassle. So we'll just get someone else to do it. That's literally what they're thinking. They really talked about. They spoke of these things. And so the Pharisees, that they got mad because Jesus was already prepared for them. When they're like, can we? I want to say this correctly. Hold on. Oh, I didn't write it. Damn it. Okay, I have to find it. Okay, it's Mark 10 and verse 3. Verse 3 of Mark 10. I'm sorry, verse 2 of Mark 10. Pharisees came up, and to test him, it says specifically, they began asking, is it permitted for a man to divorce his wife? And Jesus replied to them, what did Moses command you? And this is always how he answers them, because he knows what's up. Jesus always knows what time it is before, like, he knows everything. Because it's given to him, right? Through the whatever, the Ruach, Elohim, I don't know what they call it. And the Pharisees said, Moses permitted a man to write a bill of divorce and to put her away. I don't even know what they mean by put her away. Like, it sounds like they're going to kill their wives or something. They want to kill their wives, or they want to put her in jail or something. Like, you don't just put your wife in a box. I don't know. Let's ask Google about it. It literally says, put her away. And then Jesus, of course, is annoyed now because he's like, these people know the answers to their stupid questions and they're wasting my time. But anyways, he answers because he has an example to set for the disciples. So he says, because of your hardness of your head, I'm just kidding, he says hardness of heart, but it's the same thing. But he wrote, because of your hardness of heart, Moses, wrote you this commandment. So he's kind of like, I like the way he worded it because he's not going to say Moses wrote something that God didn't tell him to write, but he's kind of like looking at it on the bright side and like, oh, okay, Moses was trying to be nice to you guys and write you this commandment, but God didn't say that. Because from the beginning, like anyone with like logical fucking, in the right mind is gonna notice this from the beginning of creation. Anyone who reads the Ten Commandments or reads the Torah and any sense at all, it's gonna know God made them. God made them male and female. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife. Joined to his wife. And the two shall become one flesh. So they're no longer two, but one flesh. So he's referring to children. And then I imagine he's making a reference to the importance of, um, you know, life, and your everybody can understand when it comes to their children why these things are important, right? So if you don't have them, then maybe you don't, but you don't need to, right? So yeah. Um, and so the one flesh thing is important. Uh, Therefore, what God has joined together, let no man separate. He says, it's my favorite verse. One of my favorite verses of all time. And I think it parallels a couple other chapters, or maybe it's just a famous quote, but I hear it pretty often. I hear it a lot. I hear people use it often. But that's verse 9 of 10. Mark 10, that is. And you know what the sad thing is here too is like when the Pharisees hear this, they're not like, oh, okay, we're like embarrassed that we tested you. They keep trying to like get him to say something wrong. They're fucking miserable. Anyways, so this bill of divorcing, um, it's funny that they would ask something like that because he just got, Jesus had just got done explaining Mark 10, where he's like, oh shit, I passed it. Quit your being like sick in your spirit. Mm. Where is it? Oh no, it's gone. Okay. Hello. Okay. This is verse 34 of chapter 23. Because of this, behold, I'm sending you prophets and wise men and Torah scholars, and some of them you will kill and execute at the stake, and some of them you will scourge in your synagogues and persecute from city to city. And so upon you shall come all the righteous blood shed on earth, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zechariah, son of Berechiah. He's like kind of sounds like he's putting a spell on the Pharisees. I'm not gonna lie. But whom you he says these people whom you murdered between the temple and the altar, which I think means they weren't they were just going to church, like they were preaching or they weren't doing anything wrong basically, and you murder these people for power. Um, so between the temple and the altar is that. So amen, I tell you. Once he says amen in verse 36, do you not get a creep? Like, oh, I just got goosebumps. He's like, I tell you, all these things will come upon this generation. So their ancestors had killed a bunch of prophets. He's like, you guys are probably going to do the same thing because you're not even ashamed of anything that you're doing. And you're sitting here being hypocrites. And so, and really, I don't know how Jesus knows everything that he knows, but that's the point, right? Even if he can't change your will, he knows what you're gonna do. I also thought this verse was funny. 25. And he's like, is this? I think it's 25 of 23. Um, he calls them hypocrites like 6 different times in chapter 23 of Matthew. It's like you clean the outside of your cup and dish, but inside they're full of greed and uncontrolled desire. So the reason I'm laughing is because I've always like had this like weird like, oh god, it's kind of an OCD, I guess you can call it. Um, but I have to like clean the inside of my cup before I use it, even if it's already clean. Because I don't know, I assume that I must have gotten used to using dirty cups all the time at one point, and I just got into the habit of like, instead of washing dishes after I eat, I wash them before I eat. Makes more sense that way, right? No dust on them, no little creepy animals crawling. Anyway, and so I think it's funny that he uses the cup You clean the outside of your cup and it's like as a reference, like you're stupid. Because nobody does that, but like, or nobody says that, but he's right. Anyway, like you guys are blind. First, clean the inside, he says, so that the outside may become clean as well. Okay, perfect logic. And then he says, okay, I'm gonna skip over these. There's some good stuff in the other chapters. But which part did stop it. Oh yeah, he's serious. This must be one of the things that we can't understand yet as humans, but like Jesus, he's adamant about this. He's really adamant, like the third and fourth generations thing, right? So he's like, you testify against yourself that you're sons of those who murdered the prophets by saying that if we had been alive in the days of our forefathers, we we wouldn't have been partners with them in shedding the blood of the prophets. So it's like, you admit you're children of these people. You should be ashamed to admit that. And so you testify against yourselves. You're the sons of whom murdered the prophets. Fill up then the measure of your. He's like, keep it up. How are you going to escape the burning fire of the condemnation of Gehenna, is what he says. But he means burning fire. Because of this, I'm sending you prophets and wise men and Torah scholars, and some of them you will kill, like we just read, verse 34 and 35. So Zechariah sounds like one of the Egyptian guys. I forget where he's from. I think he's Egyptian. And then they also killed Abel. I have not read on Abel. Wow. I'm gonna write his name down because Jesus mentioned him. This generation. Wow. Oh, and yeah, he uses the word on this generation. He specifically uses the word generation, which I thought was interesting because of the third and fourth thing that not Abraham. I was gonna say Abraham suffered, but who was it? Jacob suffered? Jacob suffered a lot. And so upon you shall come. His kids had it way worse. Oh, because they were like, oh. Apart from like being kind of stupid, like there was a lot of them. What's her name? God damn it. Leah had so many children, dude, and they were all bad. But anyway, the blood and the altar. I tell you these things will come. Okay. Again. Isn't it funny? He's even telling the disciples, like, because I'm pretty, they were close to Jesus, like the family of Joseph and Jacob, and I'm, regardless of generation, he's preaching to that, to these, basically these generations, yeah, because he was born in Joseph's time, so, and they don't get it. He's like, what God has joined together, let no man separate. What's the first thing they did when Joseph died? No, he didn't even have to die yet. They did it when Solomon died. They separated the territories, Samaria and Judah, and a bunch, so many other little territories around it. Everyone was fighting with swords and bows and shit. Like, ugh, disgust. Women were murdered, like, because for being like, I think it was someone from a Benjamite. His wife was like raped by a man from another city, so then he like just dismembered the body. He didn't even give her a proper. I don't know why he dismembered the body. I figured he's trying to hide it, but everyone was like watching him. It was really weird. I didn't. I don't know.